in approximately 1 week of the session. And so you will all have access to this video as a follow-up. But again, if you're not comfortable with being recorded, please feel free to turn off your cameras. So to focus on the agenda of today, we had our welcome and land acknowledgement to recognize the Indigenous territories of which our organization is based. And here we will meet the Volunteer Ottawa program team. There has been a lot of turnover within Volunteer Ottawa. I am personally a new member, so I'm really excited to meet all of you. And you'll learn a little bit about Volunteer Ottawa. I'm sure some of you have been volunteers for quite some time. I'm recognizing some names here, but there are also many, many new volunteers across Ottawa, which is fantastic. And then we'll be looking at our new website. For those who have been here for a while, you would have known our old website and how we had to switch gears, which is fantastic. So I'll be taking you through that. And as well, we'll just be focusing on 5 volunteering tips. Again, if you have any questions throughout it, just please feel free to use the chat or feel free to email me afterwards if you come up with a question. So again, our webinar takeaways will be understanding our new website, looking at your volunteer profile, searching for opportunities, and being ready to volunteer. And so just a little bit about Volunteer Ottawa, especially for those newcomers. For 65 years, Volunteer Ottawa has stood as a leader in helping people make a meaningful difference in the greater Ottawa region. Promoting volunteerism, engaging communities, and building expertise as a capacity in the non-for-profit sector. Here we connect a bunch of organizations across Ottawa with volunteers who are excited and energized to help the community. And we, again, really want to show our appreciation for these volunteers, especially during this week, but all throughout the year as we connect these organizations and really get to know you guys as volunteers as well as our member organizations. Within Volunteer Ottawa, we also have workshops and training sessions and inclusive programs, networking opportunities, and integrated systems for volunteering and organizational matching. While volunteering is really great, there's many different aspects to volunteering as a whole, and that includes professional development opportunities, as well as mentoring young volunteers, as well as newcomers to Canada. So it's really great to see the diversity that Volunteer Ottawa has within its members, volunteers, and organizations. So again, we're having a bit of a turnover in the past couple months. It's really fantastic. And again, I am myself very new to this team and really excited and motivated to really connect with all of our volunteers here. So my name is Heather Taylor. I'm the coordinator of membership and volunteers. I've been here for about approximately 2 months, and for the past 4 years, I have really enjoyed my experience as a volunteer across Ottawa and really value and understand the development and growth that can occur during these volunteering opportunities. I'd also like to acknowledge just a few of my other team members. You would see here in the screen here that there is Adam, who is our Director of Programs and Fund Development. As well, we have a couple other newcomers. This would be Alvaro Casobello, who is our Education Officer, who is not here today, but he is fantastic in working on developing these workshops for organizations. So if you have any questions about those, I would be happy to direct you towards him. And also Adam would be able to answer all of your questions as well. We also have a new executive director named Christina, who would be happy to also discuss and is very excited to meet all of our members and is very enthusiastic about really integrating Volunteer Ottawa with all the organizations across Ottawa. And as well, our longstanding team member is Carissa, who you've probably heard about through newsletters, who is our communications and outreach officer. And so that is our team, and we are still growing as a team as well. So you will likely be hearing from another member soon. So yeah, here is our opportunity to really meet you and as well for you to engage with our new website. So this is just an image clip of the new website. However, I will actually be taking you through a little bit of a tour around our website. And just looking through the different navigational aspects of Volunteer Ottawa's new website. Okay, great. So here I'll be taking you to the home bar. I have personally created a volunteer membership for myself, just to give you guys a good example as to what that can look like. Here is just your personal information. Here you would just click Save Profile in order to update that information. And you can also look in the taskbar here for subscriptions, payments, as well as logouts. However, I'll be primarily focusing on this taskbar right here for volunteers. Of course, you see Home, About, Members for volunteers, for organizations, training. So this is where you would find information on workshops, as well as events. And I really want to highlight the calendar here. Of course, you would all have access to the calendar for attending this webinar, but focusing more so on the volunteers, we'll focus on creating a volunteer profile, which you all likely would have done given that you're here today. However, I just wanted to quickly walk through the navigational tools within this, which is identifying yourself. Of course, you do not specifically have to. However, one thing I'll highlight, and I will bring it up a little bit later, is please tell us how you would like to contribute, including any specific skills. Answering this really just allows us to understand what you are looking to get out of your volunteer membership, as well as what you're seeking to learn and engage with and give as a volunteer. So in this, you can say, if you answer no to obtaining a police record check, you could specifically say, I have not obtained a police record check, but intend on doing so. You could also say, if the opportunity requires a police record check, that you will and are willing to receive such. And so here you'll just answer the opportunities. This allows us to just kind of understand how you heard about us and the information. And it is very important, if you would like to get all the updated information, that you are able to receive email communications from us, including all of our new opportunities. And so that's just a walkthrough of creating the profile, which I'm sure you all have utilized before. But if you have any questions on how to create a profile, or if you have trouble accessing your profile, please just let me know, and I will be happy to work with you on that. So here, probably the biggest aspect is once you've created that, is searching for the right opportunities that suit you. So here I would like to acknowledge that we have a taskbar on the left-hand side that allows you to apply filters to this opportunity. So what your availability is, the type of volunteering that you would like to do. And as you can see, there are a whole list of options, many options for you to engage with, as well as language preferences, location options, and the type of organizations and time commitments that you would like to give. Of course, there's also different opportunities that are different, that are suitable for different age groups. If you are a high school student seeking an opportunity, that would be much different than a family seeking an opportunity. So this just really allows you to refine your search. And as you can see, we also have many searches. So here I'll just use an example of one that I would find appropriate for myself, which is tutoring to immigrant services. I personally have experience. I am an honors English graduate, and so I would love to teach and tutor for English. And as we can see, the application deadline is June 30th. So here are the descriptions that you would see, as well as information. If you have any questions, I would really encourage you to directly reach out to the contact if you have any specific questions about the organization and what this opportunity entails beyond the post. And so how will this opportunity benefit you, as well as how you could benefit the organization? All of the information is also here in terms of that refined search, allowing you to connect with the best organization that suits your expertise, as well as the experience you wish to gain. So once you apply to this position, you'll insert the information. Here, you will upload a resume. This is changed since our old website, and the reason that you have to upload a singular resume every single time you apply to a position is to ensure that you have the most updated information possible. So really highlighting your features, again, using this example as a tutor. So therefore, I would really highlight the fact that I have experience tutoring in the past 2 years, as well as my degree as my experience. So I would really highlight that in this resume specifically. Meanwhile, if I was working with a food bank, I would highlight many different roles and responsibilities that I've had within food banks and working with homeless shelters. So here I would also incorporate and really highlight that previous experience that is suitable for this specific position. And this really just allows you and allows the organization to ensure that you're getting the best connection possible. And so that is about that. And again, if you have any questions, please just let me know. Or if you're ever looking through the website and you're seeking out a very specific opportunity but struggling to see it, again, just feel free to reach out to me. My information will be at the end of the slides. But that's a little bit about how to search for the specific opportunity. And again, we really want to highlight that it is very important that your profile is updated as much as possible. Of course, every single year, March 31st, everyone's profile automatically has to be updated just to ensure that everyone is going through those motions to connect and engage with those organizations as best as possible. So then moving forward, I'll also just briefly talk about our opportunities for youth volunteering. This is something I personally would like to engage with a lot, and within my role, I'm really hoping to really engage with youth volunteering, as we all know that youth require community service hours and are also our future volunteer generation. And so if you ever know a student or are a student seeking out their community hours and interested in any professional development in volunteering, I would certainly look at this page with our Generation Give program. And again, if you have any questions about that, but I'm really looking forward to kind of launching that in combination with Adam, really launching that youth aspect of our program again. So that's about that. And then also, I would really like to highlight our group volunteering opportunities. Some of you may or may not have participated in group volunteer opportunities. Please feel free to, again, as Adam said, like share your experiences that you've had in these opportunities. However, oftentimes some organizations are seeking out volunteers for a specific day and task that they need to get done. And so oftentimes this is the most, as it says here, cost-effective services, and overall can consist of one particular day. And of course, this is something, if the opportunity seats itself, then we would reach out looking for volunteers, of course, but it's always great to know about group volunteering opportunities. Group volunteering opportunities really allow you to network and meet these individuals. And of course, moving forward, I will just recognize that we do have a DLO program. Of course, this program is about to be relaunched, of course, and everything with that is going to be launched by our DLO individual who is incoming soon. So here, I just have to move my taskbar here. And so, yeah, that's our DLO program as well. I would just like to highlight this very important aspect of our webpage, which is the volunteering common questions. So here's just some questions of how to become a volunteer. How do I find the right opportunity? And again, highlighting these personal qualities that you're interested in and ensuring that this is reflected on your membership profile. And of course, there's also opportunities for families to volunteer together, as well as accessibility issues. Many organizations are very open to different accessibilities and are really willing to work with you on your accessibility. And so always feel free to reach out to me or reach out to the organization if they do not have it on their on their posting of what their accessibility are. And so again, of course, because of the time that we're in, obviously we're meeting on Zoom and everything, just want to acknowledge the COVID-19 safety protocols and just ensuring that your safety protocols and the way in which you conduct yourself during COVID-19 aligns well with the organization that you are seeking to volunteer. So again, if your profile reflects your comfort with COVID-19, that certainly helps organizations, and of course, vice versa. So that's a little bit about how to really walk through our new website and ensure that your member profile is up to date as possible. And so here I'll just be moving back into my presentation. And so here we go. Okay, perfect. So I walked through at your access to search from hundreds of volunteer opportunities on our website and refine your search as much as possible, as well as how you can be ready to volunteer within your member profile. And under this, and I will acknowledge this in just the next slide, is how to be ready to volunteer with regards to sector checks. This is also another common question that we see is what is the difference between the different sector checks and how do I obtain one? And of course, how to make your profile stand out. Again, I'll just highlight again that it's very important that your profile is up to date, as well that you're utilizing your resume and references as much as possible to really highlight the experience that is associated with that specific volunteer opportunity. And so I'll just check the chat quickly here, but I know that Adam is monitoring it, but please feel free to ask me any questions. So here I'll be going through the differences between the sector checks. You can also find the information here, and of course you will have access to this slideshow in the video afterwards. Also, please feel free to look up vulnerable sector checks or criminal background checks, and the information should come up for you rather easily. But I'll just go through the differences. So a criminal background check is a name-based criminal record check that are done against the RCMP's Information Center system. They consist of a check of National Repository of Criminal Records based on a person's name, date, and birth, and may also include searches of other national and local databases. So it's a bit more of an extensive background check in comparison, and the vulnerable sector check is a police information check, plus a check to see if a person has a record suspension, for sexual offenses. As well, policies and procedures related to volunteer sector checks can be found at the Dissemination of Criminal Record Information Policy, if you would just like to understand a little bit more about why a vulnerable sector check is important and was created. As well, there are often questions concerning vulnerable sector checks. And if you do have any questions specifically regarding any of these sector checks, I would highly recommend that you go to your local police station, as they would be able to provide you all the information as possible. But again, if you need any help within this process of just who to reach out to or how to take the next step, feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to provide you with more information. As well, as I noted previously in your member profile, if you do not have a vulnerable sector check, just always state that you are willing to get one if required, given a certain volunteer opportunity. However, if you do already have one, you can simply click the box that you have obtained one for the upcoming year. And in terms of fees, often as of right now, fees have been waived if you're able to get a letter from your organization required just to state that you are volunteering at that specific organization. However, I would still check with your local police station, as fees have changed due to COVID. So this may alter depending on the timing that you go in to look for one. However, again, your organization that you volunteer with will likely be very accustomed to vulnerable sector checks, and I'm sure that they could also answer any questions you have required. And so I will move on. So you have listened to me talk for approximately 27 minutes, and we've reached the end of our presentation here. But I would really like to encourage you to message me at any point in time if you have any questions regarding the information I shared with you, or if you have just any questions regarding Volunteer Ottawa. Membership@volunteerottawa.ca. And I would be happy to work with you and really get to know you on an individual basis. And in addition to that, I really want to highlight that as of tonight at 5 p.m., we will be meeting at the Ottawa sign here on York Street. If you're comfortable with going to the Byward Market, of course. And we are just looking forward to meeting you. And as you can see on the left here in the picture, the Ottawa sign is actually in Volunteer Ottawa's colors. And we'd really like to take a picture with our fantastic volunteers to share just how important volunteering is to us. So I really hope I can see a few of you later this evening. And I think that that would be fantastic. And again, there's going to be a few of us there, myself and Adam included. And also, just as a side note, there's going to be some Happy Goat treats there for you. And yeah, I really just appreciate having your time. And if you have any questions, please just let us know. Again, if you have any questions now, I'm happy to answer them. But if you can't think of anything, I'm happy to also answer later. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks everybody again for the stories in the chat as well. If anybody does want to take just a brief moment to share their story, we'd happily have that as part of our, to wrap us up and send us on our way with a big smile of their volunteer experience.
Yeah, I'm just now getting the opportunity to look at these stories, and it looks fantastic. I see Ren, you have shared your story. That looks amazing. Yeah, if anybody has any stories. And also, when you come to the Volunteer Ottawa sign, please feel free to tell us your stories when you come. I'm really excited to learn about all of our volunteers and what you have done. And so, yeah, in terms of, I do see a question, in terms of the vulnerable sector check and how generally how long they remain valid. It generally depends on when you apply for them as well. Of the vulnerable sector checks can be iffy, but I would believe it, and Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, approximately 2 years. And of course, this has kind of shifted in the past year, but right now I would say approximately 2 years. So once you get one, you will have it for quite some time.
Most organizations, they do have their own, like each charity will have its own parameters. So it's usually 1 to 3 years, 2 years being the average. So you're right on with that as an average. And some will accept a previous. If you were at one charity that needed a vulnerable sector check, they'll accept a predated one for up to their time. So sometimes they understand that going in for more paperwork isn't necessarily what you signed up for. So we do like to see that we work together as a sector to ensure safety, but also not to make people jump through too many hoops towards making sure we have safe and accessible volunteering for all. So it's a great question. There was one other question there as well. Tips for finding volunteer opportunities when you're lacking specific experience in the sector. So volunteering is the great way to certainly find that experience. And you don't necessarily have to have all the skills to volunteer. You just have to have a passion and an interest and a willingness to learn. A lot of times that will get you a position of interest. And maybe you can start with an organization on one particular project. And as you get to know them and show your passions for specific skills, there'll become opportunities to volunteer in various capacities as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And within your application to that specific position, this is something you can really highlight. And again, our organization's emails and information is there. So if you really feel like taking that initiative and that step in expressing how passionate you are about that specific opportunity, also feel free to reach out with them and submit possibly a cover letter just stating your enthusiasm as well as your CV. And I'm also just seeing, I recognize that it's 12:32 at the moment, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. But
There's
I can look at a couple more questions here. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Um,
there's two that just came in. I can probably address them pretty quickly.
okay,
If you've
great.
just arrived in the country, many organizations will look at your transfer papers and the documentation that you've had for arriving in Canada. Obviously, the police stations won't have any record, but you do obviously go through security checks to get into the country and be a part of coming into Canada. So there often is some standards that are set. Various organizations will have resources that'll help enable volunteering. We do have a couple of representatives of settlement agencies here that could maybe weigh in, or you could reach out to. So I know Bryn is at CCI and may be able to give a little more understanding of initial engagement. And that second question there is just about sector checks. So in the community, this is TESFA, if I'm saying that correctly. If you're still here, yeah, you're right there. So we have background checks for people who've worked and lived in the community. The police keep records of anybody who has broken the law or had infractions of any sort to ensure that when we invite people to volunteer, that they don't have a previous criminal history. Not to say that they can't volunteer if they have a criminal history, but it's a check that we make sure that everybody goes through so that people are being upfront and honest about their past and what they've been involved in. And it's just an opportunity to provide a level of screening so that that volunteering, especially in positions where there's vulnerabilities or security issues, that they're well screened and checked. Hopefully that answers the question well. If you do have more questions, feel free to reach out at any time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up here, but I really appreciate all of your time and all of your questions. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to meet with you and talk to you as well. If you're coming to the Ottawa sign, please feel free to come with your questions there. And yeah, I really just thank you for your time and happy National Volunteer Week to everyone. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, all the best. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.